Everyone at Ontario Shores has been rising up to ensure the delivery of quality mental health care throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Through Rising Up Conversations, we are proud to shine a light on individuals, teams, and disciplines who continue to go above and beyond to care for our patients and each other during these challenging times.
Welcome to Rising Up Conversations. My name is Daryl Mathers. I'm from the Communications Department here at Ontario Shores. As we film today, we are physically distant. We're using masks and we're taking precautions to protect everyone from COVID-19 during the pandemic, while also here to celebrate the wonderful work that our people and our organization has done over the last 12 months during this very unique time. Pleased to welcome our guests today. We have Justine Lee, Clinical Manager from our Geriatric Psychiatry Unit, GPU, and Julie Earle, a Nurse Practitioner from our Geriatric Dementia Unit, also known as GDU. So acronyms are a big part of the culture here at Ontario Shores, so we have to get those out of the way. And as we kind of start the conversation, we'll direct to you, Justine. Can you tell us a little bit about GPU and the kind of care that's delivered to patients on the unit?
Yeah, so thank you. So geriatrics on the Geriatric Psychiatry Unit, we care for the senior population, and we support those who have, mood, anxiety, and any type of schizophrenia issues. And sometimes we do diagnostic clarification as well. And we have the ability to provide groups similar to our other units in our geriatric program, including spiritual care as well. So we're quite an interdisciplinary team, and we work together.
Julie, GDU?
The GDU is a 23-bed unit that predominantly services long-term care patients, so patients with dementia that reside in long-term care, and due to their dementia experience behaviors and symptoms of agitation and aggression, irritability, sometimes mood and impulsivity. Our job is really to help them improve their overall recovery, live with disease, and work through those symptoms of their dementia to have the best quality of life.
So when that was pre-pandemic, all that stuff, obviously it's continuing now, but the method in which we were delivering care, I imagine, drastically changed more than a year ago when the pandemic hit. So we'll start with you, Julie. Like when I think it was March 11th of 2020 hit, what changed for you and your colleagues?
March 11th, my son's birthday. I look back and I think, my goodness, how much life was different, how much we took for granted. The ability just to wear PPE, and the changes that's had on patient care. These poor patients are barely able to interpret their environment, often due to their disease and lack of understanding of their environment. And then to not be able to see our faces and interpret body language has been very difficult. The team's really risen up to work together and help become these patients' families, because not only do they have to have a different environment, they lose their family through losing a lack of visitors as well.
Justine?
Yeah, I would have to agree. It's been a similar experience on GPU. It was quite, a shock to us, and especially for our patients. It was quite an adjustment for them to not being able to leave the unit, if anything, when the start of that happened, and for the team to have to be able to support them in their anxiety. Some patients didn't have the opportunity to, see other patients. And then most of all, of course, their families. So, kudos to our entire team on GPU and within our program for supporting our patients at this time, because our staff are it. We become their family.
The next one for you too, Justine, to start anyways. What impressed you about your team during this time and how they reacted and evolved during this time?
I think what was most impressive is people didn't even blink of an eye. They just did what it needed to take to keep our patients and our staff safe. They just rolled up their sleeves, and I remember we even had a staff member who ensured that She made sure that the tables were all spaced out for our patients, just to make sure that the patients were socially distanced during the meals. So really, they just didn't even think twice. They just went ahead and they did it all for the safety of our patients.
Julie?
I'd really have to echo Justine. Everyone just jumped right in, 100% full effort. And really, to reiterate again, we've had to become the patients' families as well, because they can't get their loved ones in, they can't get that little bit of familiarity. So not only are we providing their care and working through the reason for referral, we're also really becoming their new crew, their new loved ones, to help really give them the best quality of life throughout their stay with us.
You know, when you think about the last year plus, I'd imagine it's been exhausting at times. What's kept you and your team, you know, the people that you work with, what's kept you guys going throughout all this?
Great question. I think it's really been, we've been so lucky. We work with the patients that have been hardest hit by the illness, by COVID, and we've worked so hard to keep it out of the hospital. We've worked so hard to keep it off unit. Everyone's come and given their 100%. It's been so positive to see the team work together, not just the nursing team, but the interprofessional team too. Everyone working to keep the patients busy and distracted and redirect those behaviors that can arise when we don't have the distractions of everyday life, of family coming, and even just giving us that little break and taking the patient and spending even some of their energy so that they're not as bored and pent up.
Justine?
So I would have to say I admire, despite everything that has happened, I really admire how the team have just become, or they've stayed and remained resilient throughout it all. They've remained authentic in terms of their values that they believed in, you know, despite of the changes, despite the amount of supports that they've had to provide to our patients. They've remained resilient. They continue to do their self-care. They've continued to do the passions and everything that they loved outside of work, whether it be painting or running or you know, some have the love for animals, and you know, really I love that about them, to continue to take care of themselves during this time of a pandemic. I think that is quite admirable.
There has been no shortage of surprises for anybody in any walk of life over the last year plus. When you think about it from a positive perspective, like what's come out of this that's surprised you, you know, in a positive way, about whether it's the patients, the staff, anything in particular that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would pretty much say the same thing in terms of having that ability to have that self-care. And not only that, ensuring that everyone takes care of each other. You know, despite it all, we're in it together. And we've been a community. We've been a community on the unit. We've been a community within our program and within the organization. We've just, we've stuck together through it all.
Julie?
Yeah, I'd really have to echo Justine. And just the whole team dynamic. The team has really risen at a time where everything's changing, everything's a high stress environment, every day has worry and fear, and they've stuck together. Their ability to advocate for the patients, advocate for themselves, hopefully engage in self-care. The team never ceases to surprise me, and it's a great team to work with.
Yeah. It's obviously a unique time in your careers, both of you, like for anybody associated with the hospital or any profession. In today's climate, say like 10 years from now, somebody said, you know, you worked at a hospital during the pandemic. Like, what are some memorable things that are going to come to mind if somebody asks you what it was like during that time?
I really hoped I'd ever say that once in my life, working through SARS. And now we've done it twice. Oh, the team really, I feel like a broken record, the team's come together. They've really worked with the patients to get them off unit when able, go outside for walks. We've had patient parties on unit, which have really brought everyone together and been really fun. The Christmas party was really enjoyable. There was a tie-dye day where we got all the patients together to tie-dye shirts, and everyone on the floor wore those shirts. I think we had some pictures done. And we've had a lot of really great events that have brought us together with the patients in an environment that we didn't used to do. We used to let the family have those opportunities, and we were the care providers, and now we've been part of the community per se, and that's been really fun.
I would have to say the same thing as Julie. I never want to go through another pandemic on top of SARS. And I think our team would say the same thing. I think in terms of what was most memorable, I think being a part of the solution to vaccinate our geriatric population, that meant a lot to our team, and especially to our patients. To be able to have them vaccinated, not 1 but 2 doses, was a significant triumph for us in this time. And really, it's the everyday laughter. I think that's what's most important. We laugh together as a team despite the everyday stressors, and we just still remember to laugh. So I think to me, it's the fact that we still can maintain that humor and that ability to, again, like a broken record, to continue to work together as a team.
Well, thank you both for everything you've done during the pandemic and for sharing your experiences today. Appreciate it.